welcome to the 4th week vlog of Sugaridoo. This week is going to be a bit of a crazy week. I want to finish 3 quilts, edit a vlog, write a blog post and have a Let's Craft Together morning this Wednesday. So we'll see. I'm just going to try to get it all done and you will see by Friday if I succeeded. Editing all morning and most of the afternoon, so now it's time to do some fabric related things, and I'm going to use black fabric to make details on the unicorn quilt. So in the Once Upon a Pixel book we work with pixel patterns for both cross stitching and quilting, and of course in cross stitching you can use back stitches with the black thread, for example, to make details to your work. But in quilting, when you have a big quilt like the unicorn quilt and I would make black stitches on them, you wouldn't see it good enough. So that's why I'm making black stripes of fabric, and I'm going to press those. So I'm using 4cm stripes like this, and then I'm going to fold it in half, and after that I'm going to fold the halves to the inside and then the whole thing again in half, and then I have a nice black stripe which I can sew on the unicorn to give the details that it needs. Just got a few strips and now I can press them. Good morning! It's Tuesday, it's a new day in the studio, and I will be having a long day of sewing. So yesterday I did editing of the vlog, and I'm going to upload that now and have some breakfast, and then I will be working on the pink pixel quilt the whole day. So I will show you the progress I'm making. Never point a fan towards pixels on your design board. Not a good combination. Still some pixels missing, but there is a lot of progress already. Almost ready to start sewing. It's time for lunch and I'm having salad again. I'm making quite some progress with the princess quilt, and you might be wondering why she doesn't have a head. But the idea is that you can put the quilt on your bed or on a children's bed, and then it looks like you are a princess because you put the quilt on top of your bed cover, and then there will be a little crown for a pillowcase. While I'm having lunch, I'm watching a video by Lisa Jacobs, and she knows a lot about marketing your creative business. So it's really informative and also fun videos to watch. All the rows are connected. So it's halfway finished. Tomorrow I'm going to sew all the rows together. And for this afternoon I was going to... Oh, some light. I was going to clean up the studio for the Let's Craft Together morning tomorrow. But it's super warm today. And then it also gets super hot in the studio. So I'm just going home and work from the garden with some ice cream. Good morning! Good morning. It's Wednesday. It's Let's Craft Together morning this morning in the studio. And it's super messy because I didn't clean up yesterday afternoon because it was such a lovely weather and way too hot in the studio. But it's the Netherlands and it's raining again today, so it did cool down. So time to clean up and get ready for the Let's Craft Together morning. Oh, look at the princess. It's going to be such a cool quilt. Hope to put this together this afternoon. That I have people over in the studio once in a while, because then I am forced to clean up my mess. But now I still have an hour before the Let's Craft Together morning starts, and I'm going to write in my bullet journal. I really like to do that every day. I do have a digital planner in Trello for my editorial calendar for the blog, but I still love to use pen and paper, and the bullet journal system I just like a lot. So yeah, I made myself a cup of tea, going to write in the bullet journal, and then I'll probably start doing some crochet already. Was already the end of the day. The Let's Craft Together morning this morning was a lot of fun. We had special visitors, as you could see, the two monkeys and their makers. They visited the studio, and they both have a personal Instagram account. I will put a link down below, so if you want to follow the adventures of the monkeys, you can. I also did crochet this morning. I'm working on a new amigurumi project. It's fun to do some stitches in between all the pixel quilting. And the rest of the afternoon I worked on the pixel quilt that I'm not going to show you yet. Tomorrow I will continue working on the princess quilt though. And that's it for today. Good morning! It's Thursday today, and today I will do a day of power quilting. I'm going to finish as much as I can of the projects that I'm working on. But I think it's going to be a challenge to finish everything this week, so I might need also Monday and Tuesday. But I'm very curious how far I can get in one day of sewing today. Last week I was leaving all the rows of the unicorn quilt together after I chain pieced the pixels. But now you see I'm snipping the rows before I go to press them and then attach them to the quilt. And that's because these pixels are smaller than the ones I used in the unicorn quilt. So when I leave the whole thing together I cannot press in one direction and then the opposite direction because my iron is wider than the pixels. But also now I'm trying this, so first snipping the rows, then pressing, and then sewing it together. I see that it was a little bit of a hassle to leave all the rows attached with the unicorn quilt, because now you just add a row and a row, so your project is growing. And with the unicorn quilt I started with all the rows attached, so every row I was sewing I had the whole project already there. Now of course you do have to pay attention that you don't sew the rows mirrored to your quilt. Only 3 more rows to go, so I'm almost there. And there she is, the princess, all finished. Well, almost all finished. I'm going to add some rows at the bottom to make the quilt a bit longer. So now I've switched my thread color to black, and I'm going to attach the details to the unicorn quilt. I've stitched the details in place, but as you can see on the sides there are raw edges. So I'm going to fold those and press those inwards, and then I'm going to stitch it. So now the edges are nicely pressed, but I see that because I'm making an angle here, there's a little black piece sticking out. So I'm going to see if I can press it in such a way that that is gone. I've cut off a tiny piece and then did some origami magic, and now it looks better. Oh yes, I'm very pleased with this. Looks really nice. So now next up is the eye. And here is also the unicorn finished. So the unicorn quilt top is finished, and now I have to quilt it. I want to make it a play quilt, so it should be nice and thick. That's why I'm going to Ikea to see if they have some thick kind of blanket, or I don't know the English word for deck bed. But yeah, so as an experiment I'm going to try how that will work as a batting instead of a standard quilt batting. Ooh, Ikea fabric department. I've picked some pretty fabrics for the backing of the quilts. Really like the dots, it's a new Ikea fabric. And a bright yellow stripe. I think I'm going to try this one. Feels nice, it's really cheap, and it's big enough. So let's give this a try. That was a very efficient Ikea visit. I got my blanket and I got the fabrics. So let's get back to the studio. Back in the studio with the blanket. I just gave the unicorn quilt a quick press, and now I'm going to cut the blanket as a batting. So that's all basted. That's a little bit a tougher job for me now with the baby belly, but I got it done. So let's get this one quilted. So I started quilting the unicorn quilt. I already did some rows. It's a pretty heavy duty job. I'm using my widest walking foot and a slightly thicker needle than I'm used to. And I also put the stitch length pretty long. I basted this quilt with a basting spray, but as you can see it's not working perfectly on the duvet. So when I would do this project again, I would go for safety pins. Even though I don't like safety pins for basting at all, but so I always use basting spray, but for this it just doesn't stick enough, and that way it has way too much room to wiggle around, and that can give you some puckers. For this project it's not a problem at all, because it just adds to the puffiness of the quilt. But still, I think using safety pins for this one is a better method. So much progress today. In the meantime, while my camera was recharging, I squared up the unicorn quilt. So I cut off the edges and I cut some binding, and I started sewing it to the quilt already. So I'm halfway through the binding and I'm going to finish that tomorrow. So the unicorn quilt is almost ready. It's such a cozy quilt. So I really did make a lot of progress today, and I think I can finish all the projects for the book before we do the photo shoot. Good morning! It's Friday today. I was going to finish 3 quilts this week, well, at least try, and I tried, but I didn't finish all 3, but I made a lot of progress, so I'm sure that I can finish them by Tuesday, and that is in time because Wednesday we are going to do the photo shoot for the Once Upon a Pixel book. So now I'm going to finish the last bits of this quilt, and then I will continue working on the princess. For the princess quilt, I have to cut some more fabrics, because now the princess is finished, but I didn't decide on forehand what the size of the quilt was going to be. So now I've done some calculating, and I'm going to make the quilt a bit bigger than it is now, so it's suitable for a children's bed. So I will have to cut some more strips of fabrics and add them to the quilt. This is a bit of a sudden end to the vlog. I just got a message that we could pick up our baby stroller. So that makes the end of my working day, the end of this Friday, so the end of the vlog. Thank you so much for watching this week's vlog. I hope you liked it, even though it had a kind of a sudden end to it. I'm already out of breath. The perks of being pregnant. If you like this video, please give a thumbs up or leave a comment. Thank you so much for all the messages on Instagram and Facebook. I love to hear what you think of the videos. If you have ideas or suggestions of things you want to see in the videos, please let me know. And yeah, then I will see you next week.